Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. Please subscribe and keep watching more details. Mauricio Umansky moves out, gets his own place. Mauricio Umansky finally got his own place and left his wife in their old home. He and Kyle Richards started having issues when the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills star lost a depressed friend. Well, that was a theory that a therapist came up with. However, apart from allegedly not getting enough support from her husband, Kyle was clearly disturbed by other things in her marriage. In October last year, Bravo star Kyle Richards explained how the estranged couple sorted out their sleeping arrangements. Despite the split between the couple, they stayed in the same home. She said that she moved into a smaller room upstairs. It seemed odd to many Real Housewives of Beverly Hills fans, but they seemed to manage civility despite officially being separated. Real Housewives of Beverly Hills fans expected that Mauricio Umansky wouldn't remain in the same home as Kyle forever. And in March this year, she confirmed that he would move out and look for his own place. At the time, the RHOBH star also spoke about how she felt uneasy because he was seeing other women. As time went by, it seemed that the couple wouldn't resolve their issues, and all that held them together were their kids. Hopes faded for Bravo fans as rumors arose that Kyle Richards got involved with country singer Morgan Wade. However, the rumored affair might be in trouble, and she's not so lovey-dovey about her friend on social media at the moment. This week, US Weekly reported that Mauricio Umansky finally moved out, and he got himself a new condo. According to their source, Kyle and Mauricio have been living separately for the last few months, and he's been staying in a new condo. They've both been traveling a lot recently, so it's working out where they don't stay under one roof. Apparently, Mauricio Umansky will visit their old home when Kyle Richards is out of town. The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills news continued because the outlet checked out with another source on where he lives. It seems that he lives in the same luxury building as Matt Damon in a new West Hollywood development. Allegedly, it's a luxurious place, so the RHOBH personality isn't exactly slumming it. Matt Damon paid over $8 million for his apartment. For now, it seems that they won't get a divorce because of the complexities of their financial relationship. What are your thoughts about Mauricio Umansky finally moving out into his own condo? Do you think it seems a bit sad that he will only visit his old home when Bravo star Kyle Richards is away? Shout out in the comments below and come back here for all your Real Housewives of Beverly Hills news. It started with a quiet Sunday, the kind where sunlight filters through floor-length windows and the espresso machine sings softly in the background. Mauricio Umansky sat barefoot on the edge of the kitchen island, swirling his double shot like it held answers. The house behind him, sprawling, glass-walled, and echoing with too many memories, felt less like a home these days and more like a perfectly staged listing. And Mauricio, real estate mogul that he was, knew better than anyone when it was time to sell. But this wasn't about property. This was personal. After nearly 3 decades of life built within the walls he shared with Kyle Richards, the whispers had become headlines, and headlines in Los Angeles come with flashbulbs and unsolicited opinions. For months, the couple danced around the obvious with the grace of seasoned professionals. They showed up where they were expected, smiled like everything was perfectly fine, and dodged questions with polished charm. But beneath the surface, things had shifted. And now, Mauricio was moving out. Not in a dramatic, boxes on the lawn kind of way. No slammed doors, no teary public statements. Just a quiet, intentional shift. A fresh start he'd been both dreading and needing. He found the place himself naturally, tucked into the hills above Sunset. The modern architectural gem wasn't enormous, but it was everything he loved. Clean lines, open floor plan, endless light. It was the kind of home that made you exhale. It didn't scream success. It whispered confidence. When he first stepped inside, he paused in the foyer, hands on hips, letting the silence wash over him. The agent, a younger guy from the agency who clearly idolized him, hovered nearby, throwing out square footage stats and designer names like confetti. Mauricio barely heard him. His eyes drifted toward the patio, where city lights flickered beneath a soft twilight. There was no portrait of a life he once shared. No family photos lining the walls. No monogrammed towels.
"I'll take it," he said,
just possibility. Voice calm and certain. The agent blinked. "You don't want to see the upstairs." Mauricio smiled. "No need." The news, of course, spread like wildfire. Mauricio moves out, the tabloids blared, as if he'd been exiled. Trouble in paradise? Others speculated. Social media did what social media does best: overanalyzed, overshared, and overwrought. But those closest to him knew the truth. This wasn't a retreat. It was a reclamation. The move-in day was quiet. No paparazzi, no fanfare. A few close friends helped carry in the basics: a favorite leather chair, framed surfing photos, a sleek bar cart. The rest, he decided, he'd build slowly, thoughtfully, like the life he was about to rediscover. Mauricio wasn't just a man moving into a bachelor pad. He was a father redefining what presence looked like, a businessman balancing brand with authenticity, a husband turned something else navigating the space between love and letting go. The first night in the new place, he made pasta. Terribly, hilariously overcooked pasta. He sat at the kitchen counter with a glass of red and laughed to himself, chewing rubbery linguine and wondering when he'd last cooked for one. The silence didn't feel lonely. It felt earned. A clean canvas. The days that followed were full of firsts. First morning waking up to birds instead of alarms. First night figuring out the smart lights. First real smile in what felt like weeks. He FaceTimed the girls, Farah, Alexia, Sofia, and Portia, and gave them a tour. They squealed over the walk-in closet and made him promise to get real furniture. Portia demanded a room with a pink neon sign. Deal? He grinned. Of course, Kyle came by. The air was heavy, but not hostile. They stood in the living room, quietly assessing this next chapter. "It suits you," she said softly. "You always knew my taste," he replied. They shared a moment, a history too long and complicated to summarize. It wasn't over, not entirely, but it wasn't the same either. And sometimes acknowledging that was its own kind of love. Nights became his favorite time. He'd sit by the fire pit with a tequila neat, watching the sky melt into the hills. Music played softly, sometimes Sinatra, sometimes Drake. He started reading again, sketching, surfing more, working less. He took meetings on the patio, barefoot, with the city at his feet. The house slowly filled with pieces that reflected him, not the curated image he'd grown used to. Friends dropped by, colleagues, even a few well-meaning matchmakers. He laughed them off for now. He wasn't in a rush. This wasn't about moving on, just moving into himself. And in that process, Mauricio discovered something quietly radical. Reinvention doesn't always require drama. Sometimes it's just one man, one espresso, one morning at a time. He missed the noise of a full house, the chaotic dinners, the inside jokes, but he didn't miss feeling like a guest in his own life. Now, every corner of this home was his. Every decision, from the art on the walls to the way he brewed his coffee, was his. It felt strange at first, empowering next, eventually natural. So yes, Mauricio Umansky moved out. But more importantly, he moved forward. And in a city obsessed with stories, he wasn't interested in being a headline. He was building something quieter, stronger, off the grid, above the noise, and entirely his own.